Welcome to the Great Old Ones channel. Here I'll talk about gaming and tabletop role-playing games in specific. Today's subject will be Megadungeons. Yeah, Megadungeons, everybody's favorite. And it happens to be November, so I'm doing the No Shave November thing here. I don't know. Let me show my support for cancer. Well, cancer research. Don't really support cancer. All campaigns are Megadungeons. Yeah, really. Here, let me explain exactly what I mean by that. Your Mega Dungeon basics. All right, they're designed to be progressively harder as players advance through levels. First couple of tiers of the Mega Dungeon are a little bit easier as you move through those. And then as you progress down levels, drilling down deeper, your challenges and stuff become harder as you move through. So as you advance through the levels, they become a little more difficult to move. Plus, player characters are also making advances in their levels to meet those challenges as well. Tasks and rewards are geared towards characters of certain skill thresholds. You don't want to go down below the level of which you're on and meet greater challenges than you can possibly manage. That kind of tends to lead to generating new characters shortly after that. There are milestone boss battles at certain intervals leading to the big boss at the end of the dungeon. You don't just run all the way straight down to the bottom of the dungeon and try to beat up the bad guy. If it's done right, most of your Mega Dungeons will have little pockets of monsters and factions and stuff here and there that you could go meet up to, advance through skills, advance in your levels, meet some challenges, gather some treasure, things like that, right? There's a good definition for your Mega Dungeon. How about the basic campaign layout? For the most part, the way I learned the way things worked over the years is just like this. They're designed to be progressively harder as players advanced through the tasks to attain the campaign goals. Well, it's kind of like I'm moving level to level, right? Tasks and rewards are geared towards characters of certain skill thresholds, right? What you're meeting from one game session to the next is all geared towards your players' levels and their skills and abilities. And then you don't really run around to the next one until you've reached a sufficient level to meet those challenges. There are milestone battles at certain intervals leading to the big bad boss at the end of the campaign. Sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before? Okay, but we're doing a hex crawl Mega Dungeon, designed to have easier and more difficult challenges for players to find. Tasks and rewards are geared towards characters of certain skill thresholds, just like the other ones. Just because you move into a particular part of the hex doesn't mean the challenge is exactly going to be your level, but not far away there's probably going to be something that's an appropriate task for characters of the levels that your party is in. And then you'll come back later to the one that's a little harder challenges to meet. Players decide which challenges to take on based on their character's current level of skill. That's why you're bouncing around from hex to hex looking for things. You don't have to run into every challenge that's on that particular hex. You can move on to one that's reachable within your goals and then move to the tougher ones a little bit later at the party's choice. Usually choosing to progressively advance through the campaign on the map. So challenges one after the next instead of running right to the big boss at the very end. You got to move through the various pieces and scale through this basically outdoor Mega Dungeon as you're moving through. So really, it's a Mega Dungeon no matter what, if you look at it. They're all basically designed on the same sort of thing. There are certain campaign styles. Your Overland Hex challenges, Mega Dungeon kind of thing. Your progressive story-based campaign. Yeah, that's kind of like a Mega Dungeon. Aren't you moving through skills at the appropriate level and challenges that match the party's level, or you can run it straight to the bad guy at the end? No, you're kind of moving through the quote-unquote Mega Dungeon as you move through. Save the city, political intrigue, grand campaign. Same thing. You're not running right to beat up the spies at the very end of the game right from the start. You've got to progressively move through the lower level challenges to advance in skill levels and power as the party to meet those challenges later on. And a Mega Dungeon. Well, of course, a Mega Dungeon is a Mega Dungeon. Now, All this being said, everything's a mega dungeon, sure. Some of them can be slogs because it takes a little bit of time and effort for the game master to actually write one that has got good timing, makes good sense. Players feel like they're actually doing something somewhere. They're making progress, stuff like this. Can't just willy-nilly throw people at a 10-level dungeon, tell them to go from top to bottom with static, generic challenges all the way through and expect it to be a good mega dungeon. Same thing happens when I'm doing my overland hex crawl. If everything is bland, vanilla flavor, same old stuff from one hex to the next, that feels like a slog as well. So proper design really helps in this sort of thing. Oh, and I just lost my light. But that's all I really have to say for this Mega Dungeon video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future topics you'd like me to discuss or talk about, or some of the things in my collection that I can show you and go over things as I learned as Dungeon Master and as a player coming along, just leave a comment down below and I'll try to make good videos about those sorts of things as well. Thanks again.